Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys an update to my Chaos Control deck profile for GOAT format. Now, over at my locals, we actually do back-to-back tournaments where we do a Time Wizard format, so like GOAT or Edison, and then right afterwards we do a standard tournament. So this is the deck that I bring to locals more than often when we do our Time Wizard events, and this deck just honestly just does so well. I get first place with this deck pretty much every time I play it. So, without any further ado, let's get into the profile. I really can't recommend this deck highly enough. This is just sort of like the bread and butter of what you want for GOAT format, but I've made a lot of really nice changes. Definitely different ratios and stuff than other people are playing, and I'm not too sure how you guys would really rate this. If it is Chaos Control, if it's Chaos Turbo, or if it's GOAT Control. I like to think of this as a Chaos Control deck. So anyways, let's get on into it. So we're playing one copy of the Blackluster Soldier, Envoy at the beginning, and then two copies of Chaos Sork. This might be different than my previous build. I can't remember exactly when I tossed in the second Chaos Sork, but it just works really, really well. So that's kind of why I call this like a Chaos Turbo build. And then one copy of Air Knight Parshath. This deck is all about with the limited resources that are in GOAT format, just trying to draw into as much power cards as you can. So with Air Knight Parshath, there's a lot of times where you're going to be sitting on a Thousand Eyes Restrict, and then if you draw the Parshath, you can just like suck up one of your opponent's monsters, summon the Parshath, and then you're going to be able to destroy whatever monster your opponent has in defense position or whatever, or you're just going to be able to attack directly, draw some cards, and you're just going to be so far ahead on advantage from your opponent. It feels so good playing the one copy of this in the deck. And then if you draw into Premature Burial, just another really easy way to bring it back from the graveyard, and it's another light target for us. And speaking of light targets, we are playing three copies of Thunder Dragon. I'm not even sure if I've profiled Thunder Dragon before in any of my GOAT builds before for like Chaos variants. But yeah, three Thunder Dragon, very, very insane for this deck. Absolutely love playing this, just being able to thin the deck even harder. And now here's a very new addition for me since my most recent locals, playing the third copy of Magician of Faith. I do need to get a third copy of Duel Saga Magician of Faith, just they all match. But now playing the third copy in here feels really, really good. This card I replaced out Call of the Haunted, which it actually just sort of dawned on me. I was like, I'm playing all these draw spells, Upstart Goblin, Pot of Greed, Graceful Charity, and just other really good spells that I want to get back from the graveyard. So if I have Premature Burial in graveyard, I can obviously use Magician of Faith to bring it back, so it feels like I have a second copy, or like it feels like I have that Call of the Haunted still in the deck. But besides playing the Call of the Haunted, it just means playing that third copy of Magician of Faith. It just means that I'm more likely to be able to get that Pot of Greed back from the graveyard or something like that. And also, you just can't deny the fact that another like small interesting thing that Magician of Faith does is that if your opponent has Magician of Faith on the field and like you knock your opponent's Magician of Faith and then you have to like banish two or all three copies out of your deck is now going to be thinner. And playing the three copies in the deck leads you to either be able to thin the deck more, or it's also going to leave you to possibly have that chance of still having a Magician of Faith in your hand when that knock goes off, whether your opponent is knocking you or you are hitting them with your Nobleman of Crossout. So it just feels good to play that third copy. So I'm still kind of testing how I like it, but for now, this is sort of how I'm playing the build, and I really, really like how, at least theory-wise, how it's going to be. Two copies of Night Assailant, just absolutely love like the hand advantage that this card gives. And then again, playing that third Magician of Faith just gives you more instances where you're going to be able to get Graceful Charity back to your hand, and then possibly be able to use the Night Assailant loop with that. Then one copy there of our Train Boy, absolutely love playing the one copy of him. Two copies of Tsukiyomi, just to be able to set all of our flip effect guys back face down. One copy of Breaker the Magical Swordsman, or Breaker Magical Warrior, my bad. One copy of Tribe, one copy of Sangan, and one copy of Sinister Serpent. Just absolutely love all of the monster ratios in here. Tribe Infecting Virus is the only one that's a little bit awkward because he's not a light or a dark or anything, but he just works so well in the deck just to be able to load up your graveyard with stuff and be able to clear your opponent's boss monsters or scapegoat tokens, whatever. Then obviously we're playing the trio in here. It just helps with our Magician of Faith being able to get back any of these amazing spell cards I'm about to show off. 2 copies of Upstart Goblin, just absolutely great in this deck. I love whenever I see this card. Because you basically rip it off the top and then you draw into Thunder Dragon or something, and then you Thunder Dragon, add 2 more. You just know that like you're about to get to like some of the most consistent like amazing plays in your deck. Because like if you're playing against like a warrior deck, or like if your opponent's playing like a Blue Eyes deck or something like that in GOAT format just for fun, like their deck is not filled with nearly as many powerful cards as you are. So anytime that you draw into these like drawing cards or Thunder Dragon, your deck thinning cards, it's just going to add more like power to the future cards you're about to draw. Then 3 copies of Metamorphosis. I've been on 3 Metamorphosis for a long time now, and it just feels right. Especially with playing the Sinister Serpent and now playing the 3 Magician of Faith, it just makes sense to be playing 3 Metamorphosis. You're going to be hitting your opponent with Thousand Eyes Restrict over and over and over again, leading you time to draw like into your Air Knight Parshath or your Chaos Monsters, and then go ahead and take the game. And you've got the 2 Tsukiyomis and your Book of Moons and stuff to be able to set Thousand Eyes when the time comes up. Then 2 copies of Scapegoat just to work with that Metamorphosis, 2 copies of Knock, 2 copies of Book of Moon as aforementioned, 1 copy of Mystical Space Typhoon, 1 Heavy Storm. Then just to wrap up the power spells, we got 1 Snatch Steal, and then also the 1 Premature Burial. I just love what this adds to the deck. Playing Premature Burial, it also means that you're playing like 2 copies of your BLS, because like if BLS goes to the graveyard, you can always bring him back and stuff like that. So it just feels right. And then we're playing a very small trap lineup, 1 Mirror Force, 1 Torrential, and 1 Ring of Destruction. So very, very simple trap lineup there. I wish I could play more, but there's just no space in the deck for all of the power spells that we want. But you don't really need traps when you're just laying out the Thousand Eyes Restrict. Here's my 1 copy signed by the Pegasus voice actor, if you guys were wondering. Absolutely love this card. Thousand Eyes Restrict, it just feels amazing when you drop this on your opponent. For our level 3, we're playing the Flame Ghost, and then we're playing for the 4, the Darkfire Dragon. We've got our level 5. I am playing 1 copy of Guiltia. I know that like pretty much nobody else plays this, but I love what this adds in for a light target. So if you end up getting something on the field for a level 5, or your opponent even has a level 5 and you Snatch Steal it, then you can just go ahead and Metamorphosis Guiltia the Dark Knight, or the Dragon Knight, whatever he is, and then that's going to enable you to, once he gets into the graveyard, to set up your Chaos plays. So he just adds a little bit of variation. 1 Fiend Skull Dragon, Dark Vaulter, 1 copy of Reaper on the Nightmare, and then a couple of 6s here. Ryu Senshi is really like the only important one, but sometimes Ojama King can kind of come up if your opponent's sitting on like some on some Scapegoat tokens or something, like if they have like 2 left and then you lock out their other 3 zones. It's kind of cool. Last Warrior from Another Planet, he's really cool. King Dragoon. And then for your level 8, the 1 Gatling Dragon. I am going to quickly show you guys my side deck that I would recommend, because I've got it fairly polished up. 1 copy of Asura Priest, along with like your Tribe Infecting Virus. You should be able to take care of other Chaos decks or whatever decks are trying to swarm the field. 1 copy of Mystic Swordsman level 2 for flip effects. Then for our warrior decks, we want to play our Kinetic Soldier. 1 copy of Injection Fairy Lily. This is just an amazing card for being able to get around decks that are playing like Gravity Bind and whatnot, so very, very insane there. 1 copy of Card Destruction. I'm not sure which YouTube channel to give a shout out to on this one, but I saw somebody who was playing this in their side deck, and I really, really loved it, because Card Destruction, you never actually want to play this in your main deck, especially if you're going up against Chaos decks and stuff, anything that wants to set up their graveyard. However, the deck profile I saw said that this is an amazing side deck card if you're playing up against those decks like maybe Blue Eyes or like Warrior, well, maybe Warriors. Warriors care about their graveyard a little bit, but it's essentially any deck that does not care about their graveyard or what's in their hand and stuff. You go Card Destruction, and you're going to be miles ahead of your opponent. And then with all of like the discard cards, like your Night Assailants and whatnot, card destruction can also just be amazing. So it can turn some of those cards on. So absolutely love playing this in the side now. 2 copies of Dust Tornado and then 2 copies of Regeki Break, just to give us some variation. If we're going up against like really floodgatey or trap heavy decks, we want Dust Tornado. And then we got Regeki Breaks for the same scenario, or if we're going up against monsters. Then some of our own floodgates, we're playing 3 copies of Royal Decree, and then 3 copies of Trap Dust Shoot to round out the side deck. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this deck profile. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe if you guys haven't already. I would really appreciate it. Oh my gosh, where's the cool guy? Oh, he's way at the bottom. But yeah, anyways, like I said, I've taken this to locals and won several times, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Absolutely love playing this deck. It feels so good. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider checking out the Patreon so you guys can help to support the channel just to keep it going. Otherwise, hit that like button, as I said, and we'll see you guys for the next profile. Peace.